Coming to the kind of music that you all play, you play traditional music. My question to you being, are there a lot of takers for this music today, from where you come, first of all, in Switzerland, and then the rest of Europe, even in terms of the choreography and the dance that you perform? Are there a lot of takers today? Is the younger generation, maybe the generation that was born after 1980 onwards, maybe taking up to this kind of music and accepting it, and even the dance? Are they accepting it?
Absolutely. I can say that the old music or early music generation, it's began for 30 years ago, and this was very, very important process because now we have a young public.
Okay.
The audience are very interesting, and they are very happy that we can give also the possibility to hear the early music, because in Europe we have classic music. It's nosy, or how can you say it is?
It's a little boring sometimes.
Boring,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And the early music, Bewegung, how do you say this?
Give some fresh air.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So you give some fresh air to what otherwise would be boring music. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, the classic music, you know, Brahms, Beethoven, and this art of music is the classical music. Would be or is a little passé.
Okay. Yeah.
And the audience are old.
Okay.
Are not so interesting. So it's
It's
like yeah.
Okay.
Routine, you know, also in Europe. But the old music or early music, it's fresh, dynamic, and for us it's very nice to make this work.
Okay. You were saying something very interesting earlier, because you were saying earlier to me, Nick, that this music was rediscovered just some 30 to 50 years back. What was happening before that? Were people playing it with the wrong instrument, or they did not know how to interpret it?
Yes, this music, everybody can read it back and everything, but they don't know how to play it. So if it have been rediscovered, I would say by searcher, they comment, they take old treaties and they say, oh, there was different style, French style, Italian style, Spanish style, and how to play the pieces. You cannot play German music or French music as the same thing. Okay. They have each their style, their way of making that music, and people were searching. That's why it was so interesting. And for my part, the dance was very close, because before, to be a dancer, you must have first a formation of musicians.
Okay.
So the master, the dancing master, have to be first musician, and after he graduate to be a dancer. Oh. So that's why Lully was a dancer. A lot of composer was dancers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nick, I'll ask you something very interesting. Don't take it offensively, but normally when you see a man dancing, if a boy takes up to dancing, especially ballet, or if you talk about a dance form, a traditional dance form, you're looked upon with, you know, a certain kind of an eye. Oh, you're doing something more girly, you know, you're dancing ballet. Yes. How did you take to dancing, and how do you, battle all these kind of comments? Maybe initially your friends, when you were in school, might have said to you, you've picked up something which girls do.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. You know, okay. I have a wife and three children. Okay. You know, so
okay. That's what I mean.
But for me, it's a real performance.
Okay.
So it needs strength. It needs artistic taste. It needs to listen. It needs to share, and all these things are really exciting.
Exactly.
And we are surrounded by beautiful ladies.
Yeah.
So it's exciting also to dance with them, you know?
Because then they look up to you and they're like, wow, he's dancing so well, and they become your fans instantly, don't they? Because if all the women ever did ballet, then what the men would do? I mean, we have a certain part to play in ballet, and I guess if men take to ballet, there's nothing wrong with that, I guess, absolutely,
yes.
right? Now, talking about, the reputation of classical music, if you just look at Mozart's Ode to Joy, a very famous piece by Mozart. It starts off with that with a particular note, with a particular beat. It goes and it does a routine again and again in different pitches. It goes high, low. Are you then allowed to interpret the music, the Baroque music, as you're talking about? Baroque comes from Venice, I guess. Can you interpret it then in a different way, or it has to be played in the similar fashion that it was just come down to you in?
It's the same what Nick said about the dance. We had also different country, Germany, Italy, England, Spain, but also different periods.
Okay.
So we cannot mix all that.
Okay.
And we cannot play Mozart like Vivaldi.
And before we end this interview, Goa has a lot of Portuguese influence in it, because we were ruled by the Portuguese for 450 years. Anything that you might have heard of Goan culture or played Goan culture before? You might have probably played some of Armandos, which is something traditionally which is played here in Goa for the last 300-400 years. Have you ever danced a Goan folk dance?
No, but I would like to see if it's possible to have the possibility to look this. Would be very, very nice, but I don't know.
Okay. What about you, Nick?
I don't know either, because you know, at that time they import a lot of Baroque music and they mix it with the area tradition, and it gives something new and different. But we have to search.
Exactly.
As we've done with our own dance. And so it's open to all the searchers who are interested in that.
So can we say one day, Daniela and Nick are going to come to Goa to research upon the Portuguese Goan culture that we have here?
Oh yeah,
But
this would be
something
very
interesting.
nice. This would be very, very nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And we too in India here have a very rich culture, very rich tradition, a little bit of which you already know now through Bharatnatyam. Anything that you want to tell our Indian and Goan viewers?
Oh, it's difficult to say this because it's very individual. I think also this program that we make together, it's something new, but they have also very, very much tradition in this program. But it's mixed, and I think this art of mixture is good for our parts and also for the Indian parts.
Okay.
It's something new, but with tradition.
With tradition. What about you, Nick? Some final words from you?
Yeah, I think the background is really important because it's the base. And after, when we have the base, this base, we can open our mind and mix with other culture, other form. And this is important also because a show must be a show. So with all his fantasy, not only to make a written music, but we have to invent something, to create something. And I think it was an idea from Daniela Dolci to mix, and I think we find a way to do it.
Okay, because exactly as the Egyptians say, you know, when they build their pyramids, they build the base very strong first and then they went for the tip. So we need to have our base right, our foundation right, and then the rest follows suit. Thank you very much, Daniela, for having this chat with us, and Nick, thank you so much. We hope you come back to India and Goa and study our culture and then perform it outside in the other countries. Thank you very much. Thank you. For all our Upbeat viewers, well, this was something different that we tried to bring you all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you all next week. Till then, keep watching Prudent Media, keep watching Upbeat. Goodbye.